Hey everybody, Paul Valancourt here, back with the wrap-up, or the sum-up, of the 30 Pitches in 30 Days project. So today I just want to talk for a few minutes about what did I learn, what sort of was my experience with the project, was it worth it, and how will it affect things moving forward, and then what's next. So let's start off with the top 5 things I learned from the 30 Pitches in 30 Days project. Number one, doing the 30 Pitches in 30 Days project, I produced almost 7 hours of content, 7 hours of content in a month. For me, that's a lot. Some people on the internet, on YouTube especially, produce that kind of content all the time. But for me, that was exponentially more than I've done in the past. And so I think that was something that I really learned and really appreciated. When I looked back, I was like, oh my gosh, I did so much stuff by doing it every day, by doing some every day. I think that one of the things was the pressure. I'll keep coming back to this idea of the pressure, or sort of the commitment of doing 30 pitches in 30 days. That really sort of drew me along so much because I knew that I had to do another pitch tomorrow. And I also knew that I had other things in my life. I have kids, I have a wife, I have, things around the house that I'm working on and doing, and as well as other things. And so I just knew that I couldn't sort of, because the wheel keeps rolling, because the river keeps running, I couldn't be too precious about the pitch. And I think that ended up being super helpful, because I would start a pitch and I would just know I got to do it. I just got to get through it today and sort of make this thing happen. And that really helped me sort of narrow down and focus and really make it happen day after day. I think that was really great. So not being precious about it and just putting it out there, and I could always come back and revise it later. In fact, there's a few pitches that I really like that I think I'm going to work on some more that I will now revise, but they're out there, but they're alive, but they're a thing now that can be revised. You can't revise a script you haven't written, or you can't revise an idea that you haven't had yet. And so this really helped. And so also I think that maybe, I'll talk about that in the moving forward section. Number 2, habit, the daily habit of writing. I think sort of the daily habit of doing it really made a big difference. I got into this flow. I got into this, this feeling of doing it every day. And that's why I did it 30 days, most more or less, in a row. And I did one a day, rather than sort of, my original view was to stockpile 30 pitches and then just put them on sort of day by day. But I realize now that was never going to work out. That was never going to happen, because without any pressure, without the framework or the timeline of the 30 days, I was never going to amass 30 pitches. There's no way, and certainly wouldn't have amassed the ones that I did, where I was like under pressure to come up with an idea, where some unsuspected or sort of surprise ideas came to me, or sort of twists and turns of things that I hadn't really ever thought about. Like, I've had this idea literally, and I'm not kidding you, for years. I want to do 30 pitches in 30 days. And I just have never done it, because I think I was on the idea of amassing them ahead of time, or getting them all done ahead of time, and then releasing them one at a time. So by doing it in a way that is much more, has much more pressure associated with it, or sort of much more of that sort of like that momentum idea, that's it, the momentum. So you get that momentum going, and then you have to keep it going. By doing it that way, I was able to do it 30 pitches, as opposed to, I'll do 30 pitches, then I'll release them. I also think it's important that I did it 7 days a week. So it wasn't like, I do Monday through Friday and then take 2 days off, because I think that habit, or that sort of like momentum, really sustained over the weekends, because I took a small break in the middle because of everything that was going on with Black Lives Matter, and I thought that was sort of more important to post than these pitches. And so I took some time off to sort of clear out a little space, a little bit of how much people pay attention to me, but to clear out some space on the internet and on my feed to devote to other more important things. But I'll tell you, coming back to it, it was much harder. That first pitch back was much harder to get going than the pitches that were before that, for sure. So that day-by-day practice of doing something every day was really important. And that's going to lead into number 3, which is goals. Like, what were my goals? Well, when I just watched back to day 0, and I was like, well, I can carve out 5 or 10 minutes a day. It was not 5 or 10 minutes a day. There's no way that was. It was more like all in from sitting down at my desk and sort of coming up with the idea, and then sort of fleshing it out, and then filming it, and then sort of posting it and then putting it up there, was more like an hour minimum. Sometimes it was more than that. Sometimes it was harder to come up with an idea. I'll sort of go back for a second about the idea of pressure. I just thought of what it really kind of reminded me of this idea of pressure and momentum was, I was working on a TV show called Blame Game. It was the first show I was ever on, and we would get a couple of scripts ahead, but then we would start shooting, and then we knew that we had to do 5 shows. They were going to show 5 shows a week. It was a strip show, so Monday through Friday, every day. So we were shooting shows pretty quickly. So what that taught me, and so what I realized in this project was the idea that because I had a little bit of pressure behind me, I didn't have time for writer's block. I didn't have time to like, I don't know, and then sort of like, go away from it. I'll go away from it and come back later. No, 1 pitch a day for 30 days really forced me to push through that writer's block. Sometimes it took a little bit extra time, but I always came up with an idea and I always posted one. And that's the achievement. That's really the thing of it. So, so I was talking about guidelines and goals. So I thought it was going to take like 5 or 10 minutes a day. Ended up taking more like an hour a day. So carving out that time and being more sort of like cognizant of that time, and also knowing that time, it was also I was able to sort of plan more appropriately. I got up a little bit earlier. I sort of made the appropriate sort of adjustments in my day to accommodate that. And sometimes late at night, sometimes early in the morning, sometimes in the middle of the day if I had some time. But I would try to accommodate that daily practice. Now, as far as goals, here's something that I really realized, something totally new that I think I'm going to implement going forward. I was in this, rather than saying I'm going to work on it an hour a day, I said to myself, I'm going to do 1 pitch a day. So, however much time that took, however much work that took, however much the different steps and pieces of that took, that's how much I was going to accomplish in that day. And to me, that ended up being a much more accomplishable thing and much more productive thing than saying, I'm going to work for an hour a day. I'm going to write for an hour a day or whatever. So I think as I move forward, and I'll sort of start dovetailing these things together, as I move forward, one of the things I'm going to think about is that as I'm writing and sort of working on some of these ideas, I'm going to try to set maybe more of a page count idea than a time idea. And so however long that takes. And look, this is one guy's experience, one guy's sort of opinion on this. But I think for me, that's going to really make a difference to me. As I was talking to someone about the 30 pitches in 30 days, and it reminded me of when I was doing CrossFit a lot, that there's different kinds of workouts, and one workout is an AMRAP, as many reps as possible in this amount of time. For me, that was always the hardest, because it's just as much as I can do. I mean, that's just as much as I can do in 20 minutes or whatever. That was always such a hard idea to really jazz up for. But the kind of workout I liked was, here's the amount of work. It's 1,000,000 reps or whatever it was. You know how CrossFit is. 1,000,000 reps, and you're just going to do it as fast as you can. For me, knowing that I'm chipping away at this sort of defined amount of work, and I'm trying to do as fast as I can, and the creative process has its own sort of like things, but I knew that, I have to do 500 double unders, or I have to do 50 push-ups or whatever. I can chip away at it piece by piece by piece, and I have that, for me, that tangible sense of forward progress. I wrote 1 page, I wrote 2 pages, I wrote my 3rd page, I'm done for the day. Whatever happens from here is gravy. Maybe I write 3 pages in 15 minutes, and I still have some time. I'll write some more. But I know that that accomplishable, sort of definite amount of work to accomplish a day is much better for me. That's going to make a big difference for me. I realize also now that I'm kind of a list maker, and so this really keys into that sensibility as well. So 4th, the accountability aspect of it, the act of making a video and putting it on the internet for people to see, and then posting about it. Hey, I did another one of these, and sort of getting some comments, or just seeing some views of people who are watching it. Even though it's only a few people, there was not a ton of people watching it. The fact that some people were watching it really made a big difference to me. For years, I've wondered how come, as an improviser, I can get up on stage and make stuff up like on the spot, bang, 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 bang. But then when I sit down to write, I labor over it so much more. I'm so much more precious about it. See tip 1. I realized that part of it is the witnessing of it. I was talking to a friend of mine, Rachel Fowler, who is a coach, and she was saying that one of the things that she does is she'll ask a question, and then she'll just sit with the person and just let them answer it. And then but by witnessing them, by being there as a witness of this, they will dig deeper and find answers that maybe just sitting silently by themselves or talking out loud by themselves, they wouldn't find that. But sitting because there's a witness there, they were able to find there's other answers to these questions. And I feel like, oh my gosh, when she said that, it really unlocked so much for me, because I feel like that's my experience as well. As an improviser, because there's people in the audience, I never have writer's block. I never stop and think, oh, what am I going to do now? I'm always forging ahead because they're there to witness it. And their energy and that sort of spiritual sort of energy dialogue between me and the audience keeps it going the whole time. Like, I've done probably hundreds of Man vs. movies, and I always get to the end. I always start at the beginning and always get to the end. A half an hour, 45 minutes later, it's all said and done. And I've never once run out of ideas. It's always shaken out because of their energy there as the witness pulling me forward. I really can't overemphasize the power that this had for me in the process. And for some other people, this may not figure in at all. And for some other people, this may be a deterrent. Oh my gosh, how am I going to film something and put it online and then have people look at it and it's not done and it's not perfect? To me, it was just the opposite. It was, I'm going to put it online every day, because my goal was one pitch per day online. And so it was not about quality. It was not about any of that other stuff. It was one pitch per day. That was my accomplishable goal. So in the doing of that, hopefully I'm refining my skills. Hopefully those are getting better and better each time or along the way, and all that stuff. But that wasn't my goal. That would paralyze me. If I tried, one perfectly done and polished pitch per day, I would never be able to do it. So you can always go back and revise. And this was not about that part of the process. This was about the generation part of the process, and later on, going back and revising. Number 5, trusting the process. Trusting the process. Just knowing that every day when I sit down at my desk, I'm gonna find an idea. Because I'm not leaving until I do. So that was part of it as well. But just trusting the process. And then also I found, and this is not for everyone, but for me, I found Save the Cat super helpful. I have their software, which I rather like. This is not a sponsored post by any means, but I like it. It helps me organize my ideas. And I didn't fill in every blank every time. And sometimes I would just write and things would sort of go totally this way or that way. But as I tell my improv students all the time is like, I'm teaching you strategies and tools and ways of improvising that, that you can always come back to. Sometimes you're going to catch lightning in a bottle and you're going to do the exact opposite of everything I've told you to do, everything I've taught you to do, the exact opposite, and it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. Oh my gosh. And you're going to catch lightning in a bottle. But what about the times that you don't? What about the times you don't catch lightning in a bottle? Are you just going to give up? Are you just going to stop? Or are you going to lean back on the tools and the practices that we've learned in class and sort of work your way up to that lightning? And I think that's what we can do. And for me, that's what the Save the Cat or that structure idea does, is it helps me sort of work my way up to that lightning. I start with one thing and I start, this has to, and just the ideas and sort of focusing like laser, like step by step, beat by beat, piece by piece. That really helped me, because instead of thinking of like the whole pitch or the whole thing, I could think step by step. Okay, well this is this. What happens next? And if I had a step later on, I'd throw that in. I'll get to that later. But that was super helpful. Trusting the process. 1, that I would sit down at my desk. 2, that an idea would come to me. 3, that I would go step by step through until it was basically from the beginning to the end. And then 4, I would post it on the internet. So that's it. That's my top 5 things. Just to review really quick. 1 is the act of producing so much content at such a tempo really gave me a ton of momentum and kept me from being precious about the work. 2, the daily habit of daily coming up with ideas really made a big difference. 7 days a week for the length of it. And 3, the having these product-oriented guidelines. I think that was super helpful to me too. 1 pitch per day. That's all I'm trying to do. Not 2. There was times that maybe I'll just do 2 today and I'll have to do 1 tomorrow. It was a disaster every time. Never worked out for me. 4, accountability and putting it online. That again was another big sort of whoosh, pulling me forward to do this and really energized me on the project day by day. And also, I will say all the comments that I got along the way, thank you for people who commented. Those comments really energized me day by day on the project and the process as well. And 5 is trusting the process. That really made a big difference as well. Just like, no, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to come up with an idea, I'm going to do it. So I think that when I pull these together, let's go into the moving forward, what's next and how's this going to influence what I'm doing. I think what's next is I'm going to go back and look at some of these ideas, pick out my favorite one. Someone asked me online, what is my favorite one? I don't know how to figure that out. But I'm going to find my favorite one, and try to sort of refine those and try to turn those into screenplays or to TV shows or something. So I think there's a lot of some good ideas in there. So in that sense, I really accomplished one of my goals, which was to have a lot of good ideas. You have to have a lot of ideas. So out of the 30, I think there's a handful that I really love, that I really want to put some more time and energy into, and some that were just stepping stone ideas that sort of got me to the next day, to the next idea. So what's next? The next big project? I don't know. I'm going to sort of write independently for a while, but ultimately I can see myself doing another time-driven project later, maybe writing a script in 30 days or something like that, or a week, or I know some people have done it in 24 hours, but I have kids. I don't know if I'm going to do that. But I think another time-restrictive, pressure, full posting online, sort of this kind of like process. I'm going to see like if I can do something like that with a script, like sort of creating this this artifact in time online and all this kind of stuff. I think that's really how I'm interested in proceeding from here. I think that's it. If you want to look back at where I started, go to here, ding, ding, day 0. And if you want to see all the pitches, go to here, ding, ding. That's the playlist of all the pitches. I think there's, as I said, I think there's some good ones in there. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you think. How did it work for you? How did it not work for you? Are you interested in trying it out? Do you want to do this? If you do, let me know. I will watch your pitches and I will give comments along the way, and I will be interested to see if people do it and sort of, if this becomes, I don't know, something that helps people out. I don't know. I'm definitely not pitching it that way, but if it's something that helps you out, if you want to undertake this challenge, I'd be interested to see how it goes for everybody. That's it. And if you if you watched even one video or a minute of a video or anything along the way, I just want to thank you for taking this journey with me. It was a very personal journey of a task that I wanted to do basically for myself. And I appreciate, as I said, that energy sort of dialogue with the people who watched and the comments that I got. So thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to do this. And I look forward to putting out some more videos on some other screenwriting related topics. Coming up. If there's something you want to know about that you think I might be able to speak to, let me know in the comments down below and I'll see if I have something worthwhile to say. Okay? Thanks for watching. 30 Pitches in 30 Days project.